Well, Lauren and I actually auditioned in New York, and I wasn't, acting or anything like that, and she had just come off of The Young and the Restless. So what we ended up doing, the director liked both of us so much, Miss Goldberg and Bill Duke at the time, they flew us out to Los Angeles, and they gave me an acting coach and gave Lauren a vocal coach. I guess 2-3 weeks into it, Miss Goldberg was like, listen, you're not gonna get the role, the lead role, but I want the world to be able to hear your voice.
Stem from my time I spent in Iraq as a soldier.
Oh, wow.
I was in Iraq for 2 tours. And I'm a vet, I'm a war vet. Yeah.
I believe the industry needs emergency music. They need emergency music. They need music that when you see artists, they may look hip hop, whatever, but they give you classic sound.
And my attention.
Picture this. You're right on the brink of blowing up and the people behind you. Big names, people with real clout. But then everything you're working for gets snatched from under you. And the one who did it? The same dude who swore he'd make you a star. That's Tanya Blount's story. And yeah, we talkin' Diddy in the villain role. Tanya Blount, born September 25th, 1973, straight out of DC, had that voice that was too big for any regular path. This raw talent with a voice that had people shook. She hit the scene hard in Sister Act 2 next to Lauryn Hill and Whoopi Goldberg. Everyone felt her.
Well, Lauren and I actually auditioned in New York, and I wasn't, acting or anything like that, and she had just come off of The Young and the Restless. So what we ended up doing, the director liked both of us so much, Miss Goldberg and Bill Duke at the time, they flew us out to Los Angeles, and they gave me an acting coach and gave Lauren a vocal coach. I guess 2-3 weeks into it, Miss Goldberg was like, listen, you're not gonna get the role, the lead role, but I want the world to be able to hear your voice.
By 1994, she had her debut album Natural Thing out, with singles hitting the Billboard R&B charts and a nomination for Soul Train's Best New Artist. Girl was set. In 1996, she signs up with Diddy's Bad Boy Records. Sounds like the move, right? The man had Biggie and all that, so naturally Tanya thought she was next in line. But nah, turns out signing with Bad Boy was like signing up for heartbreak. She got a few hits, then radio silence. Diddy stopped working on her stuff, and soon she's fighting to get out of the contract that was supposed to make her a superstar. This story's got it all. Broken dreams, power plays, and yeah, straight up threats that left Tanya homeless. Stick around, because we're digging into the full tale of how Diddy left this rising star in the dirt. Tanya was grinding at Bad Boy, recording track after track. Like, she put down 50 to 60 songs. She wasn't just trying to do what everyone expected. She wanted to switch it up. Tanya had this big vision, ready to break out beyond just R&B and gospel. She wanted to mix it up, explore pop, and play with the sounds she grew up vibing to. But Diddy? He wasn't about it. He had his formula for bad boy artists, and he wasn't trying to hear anything else. And Tanya wasn't quiet about how she felt. She laid it out. I was this little black girl who wanted to do pop music, but it wasn't possible. For real, she just wanted a chance to expand her sound, blend in different vibes, and show the range she knew she had. But nah, Diddy wasn't budging. He kept her on a tight creative leash, making it clear she was there to sing what he thought would sell, not what she wanted to express. If you've ever had someone box you in, you know exactly how Tanya felt. Imagine working your whole life to make it, then being told you can only show one side of yourself. She was trying to break the mold, but Diddy kept her chained to it. This clash, her push for creative freedom, started to rub him the wrong way. And you can guess what happened next. Diddy's focus on her started to disappear. He was busy and she wasn't making it easy by trying to step out of line, so he slowly started turning his attention elsewhere. And just like that, as she pushed harder for her own sound, Diddy pulled back. The vibe shifted, and soon Tanya's dreams were left gathering dust. Finally, Tanya had had enough. She realized she wasn't going to wait forever for an album that Diddy clearly wasn't planning to release. It was time to move on, but getting out from under Bad Boy wasn't going to be a walk in the park.
What am I supposed to say?
Her manager said the situation was like being caught in Puffy's vortex. The contract was tight, and Bad Boy wasn't budging. Tanya had poured everything into her music, only to end up locked in a deal where her dreams stayed on a shelf. With legal fees stacking up and her career frozen, She was stuck in limbo, and the frustration was eating away at her. The stress didn't just hit her pockets. It started messing with her mind. Trying to fight a giant like Bad Boy Records took a toll, leaving Tanya deep in depression. At one point, things got so bad she ended up on a 72-hour psychiatric hold. Imagine having your whole life flipped, with everything you worked for dangling just out of reach, all while battling your inner demons. That's where Tanya found herself, trying to hold on but barely getting by. Imagine your career's in ruins, your money's gone, and you're in the middle of a breakdown. How would you handle that kind of pressure? Would you bounce back or let it break you? And even when she managed to get back on her feet, life was ready to throw a few more punches her way.
I believe the industry needs emergency music. They need emergency music. They need music that when you see artists, they may look hip hop, whatever, but they give you classic sound.
Listen, Tanya was living in a whole different kind of hell. After Bad Boy Records left her hanging with that shelved album and no payout, she was left with nothing but broken promises. No label, no cash, and no backup. Life turned on her fast, and without any support from the industry, she was forced to rely on friends just to have a place to crash. Picture that. A girl who once had her name on movie credits and charting singles, now barely holding it together, crashing on basement floors. She wasn't just out here struggling, she was hitting every low the industry could throw at her. People forget, but when you're on the edge like that, even a roof over your head becomes a luxury. Tanya was hustling to stay off the streets, relying on the kindness of people she could trust just to keep a roof over her. One day it's a basement, the next it's the back of someone's couch. She was holding on to her sanity by a thread, dealing with the shame, the anxiety, the reality that this music dream, the same one she poured everything into, was slipping away. Imagine looking around at four walls in somebody else's basement, knowing you've gone from record deals and red carpets to praying you don't wear out your welcome. But life's got a crazy way of flipping the script when you least expect it. Just when it seemed like she couldn't sink any lower, she had a random encounter that would change everything in ways she couldn't imagine. Stay tuned to see how Tanya's story takes a wild turn.
It won't be so easy.
Aight, so Tanya's down bad, real bad. Ain't got no label, no cash, and she's practically sleeping on friends' floors. But then, in one of them, you can't make this up moments, she meets Michael Trotter Jr., and he's just as beat down by life as she is. Michael ain't just some dude off the street. He's an Iraq vet, a real one, with scars that go deeper than most folks can understand.
Stem from my time I spent in Iraq as a soldier.
Oh, wow.
I was in Iraq for 2 tours. And I'm a vet. I'm a war vet. Yeah.
They link up at a music event, and the connection is instant. It's like two survivors finding each other in a world that left them out to dry. Now, Michael ain't exactly rolling in dough either. He's been through his own wars, inside and out. PTSD, homelessness, the whole 9 yards. But there's something about Tanya that draws him in, and she ain't scared off by his baggage either. They're two warriors, used to battling alone, but now they got each other's back. Instead of tearing them down, every struggle they've been through builds them up together, turning all that pain into something real. From that moment on, Tanya and Michael ain't just making music. They're pouring every scar, every tear, every win, and every loss into their songs. They build a foundation on that shared pain, giving birth to a whole new sound. This ain't just a love story, it's a comeback, born in the ashes. Keep watching, because Tanya and Michael are about to flip the script on what it means to rise up together. They team up and create something raw and real, a group called the War and Treaty. This ain't no typical duo. We're talking blues, gospel, and soul, all blended into music that sounds like it's straight from the heart of struggle. Their vibe? It's therapy, it's healing, it's survival on wax.
And my attention.
Every track is a piece of their fight. Every note carries scars, and it connects, because it's real. They go from sleeping in friends' basements to Grammy nominations, turning heads in genres that don't usually see black faces. They're out here doing folk, doing country, breaking barriers, and getting folks to respect it. They're proving that their sound, this mix of love, pain, resilience, is universal. The War and Treaty ain't just another band. They're a movement, showing that no matter how far you fall, the rise back up can be legendary. Their path ain't been easy. Even with the success, life keeps tossing obstacles their way. But Tanya and Michael? They keep coming back stronger, showing everyone that as long as you got fight in you, there's a way forward. Stick around, because this journey's just getting started. In 2020, Tanya faced yet another test when COVID-19 hit hard, shaking up her life and putting her career on ice once again. Catching COVID was no small thing for her. The virus messed with her lungs and drained her strength, taking her off the stage for months. Meanwhile, Michael was battling his own demons, dealing with PTSD from his time in Iraq. The stress? Unbelievable. But instead of letting it tear them apart, Tanya and Michael held each other up. They kept each other grounded, leaning on that same grit that got them through homelessness and heartbreak. Through sleepless nights, doctor visits, and healing prayers, Tanya slowly recovered. It wasn't just a battle with COVID. It was a fight for her peace, her voice, and her life. This duo faced every challenge side by side, their love and music giving them the strength to make it through. And as they rose from the ashes once again, people started to take notice. From survival to the spotlight, Tanya and Michael's journey wasn't just about beating the odds. It was about making sure the world knew their story. If Tanya's story moved you, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more powerful stories behind the biggest names in music.
Anyone can see that